So it looks like we're getting an entire wave of Marvel Legends Spider-Man No Way Home action figures, but are these the ones that we've been waiting 2 years for, or are these kind of a letdown, soulmates? Be sure you stick around till the end, guys, because we're going to talk about what Spider-Man No Way Home characters we'd love to see next. The first action figure we're going to be looking at today, guys, is MJ, and this one is a fine action figure. I don't know that anyone is really going to be beating down the door to get MJ, but it's nice that she's here because obviously she should be. She was represented very well in the movie, and she comes with one of those Doctor Strange boxes. She comes with a set of extra hands, and perhaps most importantly, she looks like Zendaya, so that's really the most you can hope for in an MCU action figure. It does look like her elbows are going to be single jointed with a swivel, and that kind of makes sense to me because of the nature of the sweater that she's wearing. Kind of an awkward piece of clothing to wear on an action figure, but I think they make it work here. And besides that, it doesn't really look like there's any articulation in her torso, at least not for the most part. So I don't know how versatile she's going to be, but maybe she'll be a little bit better than I think she's going to be in person. As it is, I think it's a nice one to have, and it's especially nice if you want to complete a No Way Home collection. FYI, the price on this one is going to be $24.99 or $25, and every action figure that we're going to look at today is going to cost that much, except for the deluxe action figures, which will obviously cost more. The next action figure we're going to look at is Matt Murdock, and this one is kind of a surprise to me because I didn't expect to see him at all here, but you know what? Having a Charlie Cox action figure is pretty cool in my eye, and having a Matt Murdock action figure, well, even better. This one comes with a cane as well as a brick that was seen in the movie while he was advising Peter Parker. If you look up close at him, you can see that his glasses are translucent, and that is always a very nice touch to see. Looks like we're seeing pinless joints on that one, so that's also very pleasant. This is a kind of a nice action figure, although it's another one that I'm not sure a lot of people are going to be beating down the door to get, but considering that this is Daredevil that we're talking about, maybe I think this one is going to be a little bit more exciting for that reason. As a Daredevil fan, I feel that my interest is piqued just because of the fact that Matt Murdock is Daredevil, and looking at this one here, yeah, I have to admit, he's a little tempting. Now, aside from my status as a Daredevil fanboy, I don't know that he's all that toyetic, and the same thing applies to MJ. That actually happens to a lot of MCU action figures where they make them, but are they really all that toyetic? No, probably not. The next action figure we're going to look at, guys, is the Sandman, and this one's a really nice toy, I think. I love what's going on with this one, and I love it because of all the texture that you see on this. It really feels like he's made out of sand just looking at him, and also he does bear a good resemblance to Thomas Haden Church, the actor who played him in the Spider-Man movies. The accessories on this one are kind of interesting because he comes with a set of extra hands that are just normal, but also he comes with a set of forearms and a set of really large hands so that you can attach them to his arms and make it look like he's expanding, right? Getting bigger. When I first saw this, I didn't think it was going to look all that great, but after observing it for a few minutes, I think it does look pretty nice, in fact. And I like this version of the Sandman, and I think that this one is definitely one to get if you're interested in Spider-Man No Way Home stuff. This one I think is much more toyetic than the previous action figures that we've looked at, although it is a little bit odd that we're not seeing an ab crunch on the Sandman here. We're only seeing the torso rocker, and we happen to see that quite a bit recently on Marvel Legends, and I don't know why that is unless people are just tired of the ab crunch. Personally, I'm not one of those people. I like the ab crunch whenever I see it, and I always hope that we see that torso rocker and ab crunch combo because I feel it works so well. But regardless, I think that this is an action figure worth checking out, and you should consider giving it your time if you're interested in Spider-Man No Way Home stuff. The next action figure we're going to look at, guys, is Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and this is the Spider-Man that I think everyone wanted in that Spider-Man 3-pack that came out a little while ago. You know, the one that was based on No Way Home that didn't have any unmasked heads in the package. But here, he does have an unmasked head. He has Tom Holland's unmasked head included, and besides that, he also has a Spider-Man head and 2 sets of extra hands. This is a pretty good action figure, I think. Obviously, if you're interested in the costume that Spider-Man wore during that movie, this one is gonna be the one to get, because this is a very traditional looking Spider-Man costume that was finally debuted in that movie, and I do like this action figure. If you're gonna have a Spider-Man No Way Home collection at all, I think that you absolutely have to get this one. And if you're just interested in Tom Holland's Spider-Man, I mean, it makes it an even more obvious choice. Most surprising to me on this one is that they actually bothered to paint the web lines for a change. It's kind of surprising because they really don't go out of their way to paint the web lines most of the time, which, you know, is a little tacky, but whenever they do it, it does make the action figure look so much nicer, and that's where we're at here. This one looks really nice. In between all the web lines, he has a mesh texture that you can see if you look up close, and on the blue parts of his costume, those are decidedly smoother. So I don't think he has as much texture as the other Spider-Man action figures, but even so, I think that this one is definitely worth taking a look at, because I know that everyone wants this action figure who's interested in No Way Home. It's just really sad that we have to get it now as a separate release, when a bunch of people paid $90 to get it on Hasbro Pulse a while back, an action figure that was already released in another wave, the Armadillo wave, and now the correct action figure is being released, and it's being released technically at $5 less separately. If you support what I do, please click subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss a single video of mine when it comes out. And if you're enjoying this Marvel Legends Spider-Man No Way Home video, please give it a like, because it takes a lot of time to make these, and I really appreciate it, guys. The next action figure we're going to look at, guys, is Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. And the odd thing about this particular Spider-Man is that it's not technically based on Spider-Man No Way Home, at least according to the packaging it's not. It's based on The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And I think that the reason this is happening is because they're having to do some sort of workaround with the rights to Andrew Garfield's likeness, and obviously this one does have an Andrew Garfield head. I was really surprised by this because I didn't think they were going to be able to get the likeness for it, but here we are, and there it is. Besides that head, he also comes with a Spider-Man head as well as a set of extra hands. There's not a lot in the package here, but obviously since this is Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, and he's a particularly beloved Spider-Man to a lot of people, I think that this one is going to be worth checking out if you're a fan of Andrew Garfield Spider-Man or No Way Home in general, because technically this is like a No Way Home action figure, it's supposed to be, but also it's in Amazing Spider-Man 2 packaging. Really odd workaround they're doing on that one, but hey, here he is, and Andrew Garfield is finally available. I've never been a fan of Andrew Garfield Spider-Man because I thought that Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2 were both mid, and Andrew Garfield paled in comparison to Tobey Maguire, but I know a lot of people like him, and they're the ones who obviously are going to want this action figure, or just No Way Home fans in general, I think. The next action figure we're going to look at, guys, is going to be Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and this one is the correct Spider-Man. This one comes with a Tobey Maguire head, as well as the mask from No Way Home and a set of extra hands. These are thwip hands. This one is a nice action figure. They got all the details down pat. It looks like Tobey Maguire. Everything here looks right to me. I know a lot of people probably don't like this one because it's not based on the Raimi trilogy, but to that I say, why would it be? It's not supposed to be based on the Raimi trilogy, it's supposed to be based on No Way Home, and No Way Home it is. I particularly like this Tobey Maguire as well as the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man because they have loads of texture on them. There's all kinds of mesh textures on their costumes, plus the web lines are raised. They're both really classy action figures, but again, it's very surprising to see both this one and the Andrew Garfield one released at $25 as opposed to the $90 price tag that was attached to the 3-pack a while back. So instead of $90 for 3 action figures, you're now paying $75 for 3 action figures, and now you're getting the unmasked heads included with them. That was something that people wanted with that Spider-Man 3-pack, and people were really expecting to get unmasked heads for some reason, even though Hasbro said no, there weren't going to be any unmasked heads in that 3-pack. It's one of those things I don't understand about the action figure collecting community, when a company will say, no, we're not doing this, and then the action figure collectors will be like a brick wall, refuse to listen, and expect something completely different, and then act surprised when the company sticks to its guns. Well, regardless, you still have to feel bad for all the people who paid $90 for that 3-pack, and now here we are with not only unmasked heads on the same action figures, but we have an entirely new Tom Holland action figure that's more in line with what people wanted to see. The next action figure we're going to look at from this wave, guys, is Doc Ock, and this one is a curious one because the packaging on this says it's based on Spider-Man 2, but it isn't really based on Spider-Man 2, it looks like. It looks like it's based, in fact, on Spider-Man No Way Home, so I don't know why it says Spider-Man 2 on there. One of the cool things about this one is that he absolutely has bendy tentacles, which is something that we've been clamoring for with Doc Ock for ages. We recently got that on a Spider-Man the Animated Series action figure that didn't turn out to be as good as people hoped, I didn't think. But this one also has bendy tentacles, which is a shock that they've done it now twice in a row, but it is totally welcome, and this one looks like a really good action figure, and I think this is absolutely one that you are gonna have to get if you are interested in Spider-Man No Way Home at all. There's just no way out of it. You gotta get Doc Ock if you like No Way Home and you like Marvel Legends. Something interesting about this Doc Ock action figure is that he actually has articulated claws, at least on some of the tentacles, and also the tentacles can bear his weight, which is another thing that I've wanted to do with a Doc Ock action figure for a long time, and well, this appears to be like one of the first ones that we can really do that with, because not only does he have articulated claws, at least on a couple of his tentacles, he does have interchangeable claws that allow him to do different things, along with a pair of extra hands. So all in all, this seems like a really nice package, I have to admit, and this absolutely seems like an action figure that's going to be worth checking out. The last action figure we're going to look at today, guys, is one that I believe everyone has absolutely wanted. We're looking at the Green Goblin, and this one is a really slam dunk action figure, I think. The likeness on Willem Dafoe is absolutely perfect. He comes with his goblin glider, he comes with goggles, a pumpkin bomb, and the goblin mask. He looks like how he did at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, and also this one has a host of posability that you can accomplish with his goblin glider. It is a very complicated, articulated piece of hardware, and I love what they're doing with this action figure. I was very pleasantly surprised to see everything that they showed us during the live stream demonstration. Apparently the price on this one is going to be $49.99 or $50. Now I don't know if it's necessarily going to be worth that much, but I do think that it is worth checking out at the very least, and it is a high quality action figure. So between this and Doc Ock, I think we have ourselves two villain action figures that are nearly perfect, if not perfect already, because they're designed so very well. Really gotta hand it to Hasbro on this one for nailing the designs of both these characters. Now that we've seen these Spider-Man No Way Home action figures, which characters would we love to see represented in this line next? Well, I think that the obvious answer here would be that we need to see Electro and the Lizard. Those two immediately come to mind because they were obviously in the movie, so we have to see them at some point. Well, Soulmates, what do you think of these Spider-Man No Way Home action figures? Are these the ones that you've been waiting for? Are you gonna get all of them because you absolutely love what's going on here, or are you only gonna get some of them because maybe some of these don't measure up, or maybe you're just not that into all these action figures because maybe you don't think they're good enough? I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments section, and don't forget to let me know what Spider-Man No Way Home characters you would love to see next. If you'd like to learn more about the Marvel Legends Giant Man HasLab crowdfunding project, you can watch that video here, Soulmates.